Exploragonians. Wow, you went really low there. That's nice.
Exploragonians. Yeah, go.
Exploragonians.
Oh, I guess I could have like kept the beat
No,
going.
there's no. You're dancing.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi.
Oh, hey, baby. We're doing night recording, which we've never done this before. So welcome to the midnight hour here on Exploragonians.
If it's like the bedtime hour.
Yeah. Would you like a lullaby?
No, but I'm excited for all your Salem fun facts.
Thank you so much. My first fun fact about Salem is that I have no idea about anything about Salem. Every time that you and I have ever gone to Salem, it's like Brigadoon. It's like we've stumbled across it. It like appears out of the fog. Everyone's singing and dancing. I don't know where I'm at. I look at a map. I know Portland's map pretty well. Like I can tell you like where things generally are. You know, I can navigate east side versus like the west part of Portland. Salem, I don't know anything. I know that West Salem's a thing. It's also maybe its own city. I don't know if that's true. It's very confusing. I don't understand Salem at all. We've done things. We've done some really cool things in Salem. I can't tell you where they're at, how to do them again. Salem is a magical, otherworldly place to me.
No, I agree. I think for us it's very important that we have Google Maps or, some guidance there. I have been to the state fair, like the Salem Fairgrounds many times, but I couldn't. I mean, I think I could accidentally end up there, but I don't think I could.
Oh, to the fairgrounds?
Yeah.
No, I feel like sometimes we'll be driving around trying to get to another destination, and we'll be like, oh, look. Oh, wow, there's the fairgrounds.
Right. It's always like kind of on accident. It's the same with how I think I should be able to go through Salem, to just like go through Salem and head towards Portland, and it is never what I think it should be.
Okay, for us being on the coast, why would you go through Salem to get to Portland?
I'm just saying, if I'm just going to like cruise through Salem, I don't know how.
Yeah, no.
We're not as practiced. That's not the right word.
Salem savvy. How about Salem savvy?
Okay.
Salem was always very intimidating and frightening for my mom, and so we never went through Salem ever. But the problem with that is to get to Oregon's premier theme park, the Enchanted Forest, you pretty much, the quickest ways to go through Salem, to go through Portland would take forever, because the Enchanted Forest is like off I-5, like the main interstate thoroughfare that goes across like the western-ish portion of the state from north to south. But to get to the Enchanted Forest is like, again, it's kind of like a fairy tale. You got to like navigate through Salem and try to find your way to I-5. If you put me in downtown Salem, in like no technology, I wouldn't be able to figure out my way to I-5.
Okay, so how did you make it? Or did you make it to the Enchanted Forest?
So we went to the Enchanted Forest the first time I was like maybe 5. There's some really classic photos of me and my mom and dad in Enchanted Forest at that time.
Do you remember it? Or you just remember seeing the photos?
Very, very, very vaguely. I remember the witch. There's this iconic witch, and I don't really remember what the witch is for. I think you go inside, it's like the castle, but it's basically a giant witch head that's probably like 2.5 stories tall. It's like wood brown with like black hair, like nose. I think you go inside her mouth as like you walk in. Mm-hmm. I remember going into that. I also vaguely remember going down a slide. But that's it with the Enchanted Forest. Like, I don't really remember anything else, and so I would reflect on photos as like a sad little child and be like, oh wow, I went to an amazing place once.
Yeah.
And we didn't go back for like 10 years. And when we finally did, it was before we had a GPS or anything in the car, but we had the internet. So my mom printed off very thorough like MapQuest instructions to get through Salem. And I remember having to like read them to her, like, go left on Commercial Street and Since we're talking about the Enchanted Forest, do you have a memory of going to the Enchanted Forest?
Yeah, with you.
That was the first time?
I think probably my parents would claim that they took me, but it's like, did they take me or did they take my older brother? You know what I mean?
You are more Disneyland people.
Wow. I just think we're people.
I think we should almost dedicate an episode to the Enchanted Forest.
Yeah, I don't think we should talk about it.
Okay, so yeah, it's not even in Salem. It's in Turner, which is
Really?
near-ish Salem.
Okay, but the point is
Getting
that
through Salem's hard.
You got through Salem. You survived. We've all been there, and by we've all, you and I.
We've all been there.
We've been there.
Okay, so there is something really embarrassing about my relationship with Salem, and it's that I have never been inside the Capitol building.
Have I? I think so. Maybe for like a Dairy Princess event. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, for the readers at home, Katie was the 50th Tillamook County Dairy Princess. So you had some like duties. Would that take you to Salem regularly
But
or
see,
at all?
now I'm like second guessing it. Now I'm like, maybe I didn't go in there. Wow.
Have
Come
you
on,
ever,
brain.
Have you ever been to Salem?
I have. Because I had, well, they were like family friends. It was like my godfather. And as we've established on this podcast, I think, about my god sisters. There's two. And anyway, they didn't live in Salem, but they lived in Independence, which is like 10 miles away. And so I feel like we went to Salem.
Is Independence only 10 miles away from Salem?
I think so.
Salem is its own island floating in the sky for all that I'm aware of.
I also had a friend that lived in Salem, so I would go visit her at times. But yeah, like growing up, we would be driving somewhere else, like passing through Salem if we were going to Bend or like whatever.
Oh yeah, you were Bend people too.
Wherever my parents dragged us, I went. Anyway, but I always, like, the thing with me in Salem was, like, I think we always stopped at the McDonald's to use the bathroom.
Wow, which one? Is there a specific one?
I don't know. To me, it's, like, the McDonald's, but
It's the first one.
I kind of think it's by the Capitol because,
Wow.
yeah, it was like, oh, there's the gold man. Like, we'd always, like, point out the gold man in Salem.
Gold man or golden man? Because gold man, it's like Goldman. Goldman Sachs?
Okay, I looked this up.
Okay, also, the gold man also sounds like there's like, one of those like street performers.
Well, this says it's also known as the Gold Man.
Gold Man? They
thank
call it
you very much.
The gold man.
Okay, apparently to some it's officially the Oregon Pioneer, which I've never heard it called that, which isn't saying much.
So I haven't really looked at it up close, obviously, but do you know like kind of what it looks like?
Okay, well, what it looks like in my mind and what Wikipedia is showing me is not what it looks like to me. I'm like, whoa.
Okay, so it looked kind of not safe for work from my angle, but describe it to me. Make a sonic image.
Gold man, very
Gold man, woman, lion, pig.
defined face. I mean, I feel like it's like a gold.
On a scale of 1
Is he
to...
wearing a shirt? I don't know.
He's
I don't know
probably
how to describe
topless,
this.
if I'm imagining like an Oregon Pioneer. Topless. Does he have a coonskin cap?
Oregon Pioneer, also known as Gold Man,
As Gold Man.
is an 8.5-ton bronze sculpture with gold leaf finish that sits atop the Oregon State Capitol in Salem, Oregon.
Okay, we probably shouldn't call him the Gold Man if he's bronze.
Okay, this is the statue. Is a 22-foot tall hollow sculpture.
Oh, he's like a chocolate bunny?
You know, I'm not into that.
Yeah.
Hollow.
Yeah, I don't want to take a bite of his like left shoulder and just have like the crumbly chocolate pieces fall inside him. I want to unwrap him and see full chocolate.
Okay. Well, that would be great.
We should fill him with chocolate.
Okay, so this piece was installed on top of the building in 1938 when a new Capitol was built.
Because I had read this, that maybe the original Capitol burned down after like a couple months, and then the other one stood, obviously, until the 30s, and then it went down again. Since we're talking about some OG Salem facts.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, do you know
The Muffin Man?
the Muffin Man? Have you met him? Or her? Muffin Man, well, I guess, not Muffin Woman.
Okay, what? Do I know what?
Do you know what, I'm going to say what white settlers settled in Salem? Like what, that's a stupid way to ask that question.
How about you just tell me what
Okay.
whiteys came?
So, in 1840, allegedly, Methodist missionaries settled. How does that feel?
I mean, kind of good, kind of not. Can I have both?
Is Willamette University Methodist or no?
Yes,
it
it
is.
is.
So Willamette is the private college in or one of the, I don't know how many there are. It's a private.
I would say it's the private college.
Private college in Salem. It's pretty good. It's Methodist. I didn't know that. Anyway, so these missionaries settled in 1840. It is interesting that Methodists were there first, and so I think I have an interesting relationship with the Methodist Church because.
Oh, yeah? Let's hear it.
Growing up, well, Katie grew up Methodist. I grew up Catholic.
I was going to say scandalous, but, like, not.
It was probably scandalous when we were in Thailand. They're like, oh, she's what?
Okay, but that also, Thailand is, like, Buddhist and Muslim, so it's like...
Yeah, that doesn't make sense
Okay,
either.
but we got stuck hanging out with the Catholics, and then they were not impressed that I was not Catholic.
So Methodist, when I grew up, like, 3 houses away from the Methodist church in town for a couple years, and the only thing, like, I remember I was interested in going there, and I feel like my mom was like, can't go there, honey. And I also crashed my bike on Christmas Day there, my brand new bike, crashed it, got all beat up, probably cried a lot.
It's like the prophecy. Like, you're like, I want to go there, and they're like, no. But then that's where we got married.
Yeah, weird, because I was like, oh, I think my soulmate's in there. I
gotta get in there.
Please, let me in. There's a girl I gotta meet.
Just imagine. Could have been best friends.
I know, but then that would have changed this relationship.
Maybe.
Or maybe we just have be even closer and have more memories.
See?
The multiverse. Let's open it up. So, these missionaries came, blah, 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 blah. They eventually changed the original name of the area, as colonialism works. They changed it to Salem, which apparently comes from the Hebrew word for peace, Salom. Shalom?
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.
What'd you say? Salome?
Whatever,
Salami?
man. We're doing
Shalom.
We're doing the nighttime record.
Okay, so what was the original name?
Well, I'm going to ask you, do you have any guesses on what it is? You know this word.
Umpqua.
It is not Umpqua. It's way further south, but you're in the right neighborhood of going with a native word.
Oh. Chemeketa.
You got it!
Chemeketa.
Ding,
Duh.
ding, ding. I'm very impressed. I don't think I would have guessed that.
Well, that's because you don't know Salem as much as I do.
Well, do you know what tribe the name Chemeketa came from?
I feel like I should.
Well, I mean...
Rogue.
The Rogue? Kalapuya.
Okay, no, I did not know that.
And so that was their name. They called it Chemeketa. And I kind of feel like, don't we want to just rally and change all of these names back to the native words for them?
Yes. I wonder if there's any statistic of like how many Native Americans were in Oregon before, even just like how many different tribes. I'm sure this information is out there to an extent, as much as it can be.
Well, this is something interesting too about just learning more about the native tribes in this area, something that the Outdoor School for All program is pushing, because in Oregon, outdoor school is like a big thing, I think just kind of in the Pacific Northwest, but we voted and passed this initiative that taps into Oregon lottery funds that gives any school district who wants, it might just be any school, whatever, they're allowed to accept this money from the Outdoor School for All as long as they abide by certain things. They have to like teach about this, and that to like satisfy basically a grant. And I think they're pushing for going into the future to teach more about native tribes, especially the ones in the area that you're in, I think, or like the camps that you might be in, and maybe the ones from wherever you're from. And so I do hope that our public school system education really starts to push more to like teach us about the people whose land that we are on / stole, even though that makes some white people really grumpy.
I think it makes people uncomfortable, you know, just talking about an unfortunate history. But yeah, I mean, it's better to just talk about it and get it out in the open and to just deal with it and to not be dismissive of this trauma and these like horrible things that have happened, but to be able to discuss it and to just do better, you know?
And I think just enriching our own appreciation of the state that we call home. And like I literally found out about 20 minutes ago that Salem used to be called Chemeketa. I just thought it was a fun native word that we were using for the community college in Salem.
Totally.
Chemeketa Community College. Don't you know? It's just a word. It probably means learn.
Right. Totally.
So more of the education. Do you know in terms of population the size of Salem in the state of Oregon?
40,000.
It has about 175,000. Do you think
I was a little off.
Portland is obviously number 1. So where do you think Salem falls?
2.
It is 2. Do you know by about how many people?
5,000.
5,000. I think it was around. It was like less than 1,000 separates Salem from Eugene.
Wow.
Yeah. So we could help. We could help push them. We could either help Salem or help Eugene.
We gotta help Salem because the downtown's so cute.
Okay, it's a historic downtown, and you and I, we love a historic downtown.
We do.
Give me an old building, and saying that like old historic in terms of like the West Coast doesn't really have any value at all versus like hundreds of more years the further east you go.
Mm-hmm. I think Salem used to have like a vibrant downtown, and then like a lot of America. I think the downtown really sucked, and like these big box stores moved in down the road, and it's like I'd rather just go there and whatever. And I think that they have recently been revitalizing it, and it just feels good. There's a lot of businesses downtown, like a lot of opportunities. But it's just like when we're walking around Salem, I'm really surprised at just the amount of businesses. And
like small businesses.
Right. And I mean, I guess if we're comparing it to Portland and it's like the second, I mean, obviously it's a lot of people. I severely
Underestimated.
Yeah.
But you could say underguessed.
Underguessed.
That's kind of like being underdressed. They claim the metro area of Salem has like almost 500,000.
Wow.
Which I don't know what the metro area even means for Salem, because when I think of Salem, I don't think of a metro area.
You don't think that's Independence and...
Does it go up to Woodburn?
Right, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And we're not going to tell you, so...
So I'm going to counter what you said about Salem feeling like maybe some of those businesses went away because, from my perspective, we didn't really spend that much time there. But, if you think about like that downtown shopping area, like that outdoor mall type thing that downtown Salem has, I mean, they had a Nordstrom for a long time and that only recently closed.
Well, that's true. Okay. Let me back up. I think I'm getting mixed in with a conversation that I had with, well, let me back that up. Because I don't even know that I want to talk about this. It's like the unhoused people. There's just a lot of that. Salem, I think when the rest of the state, like when, homeless issues, whatever, the unhoused, like people on the streets, like before that was everywhere, right? I think it was condensed in Salem. Like of all the places in Oregon. I
definitely
think,
like also like along Burnside in Portland, especially like 10, 15 years ago. I mean, it was pretty bad.
Right. But I think that Salem is different because they had the mental
right.
Like institution, like
but,
the Oregon hospital. That's it.
But are we speculating on that? Or are you just making an educated guess?
Molly had ties to like her grandpa or something was maybe the director of like the
okay.
There was some tie there. And then we knew somebody who was like in there and then out of there. I mean, I think that there's just I think I liked Salem. I think Jessica had complicated feelings with like that. So I don't know. I think I'm kind of mixing all my
But with that, because I'm thinking, because One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, that's a Ken Kesey novel, right? He's a famous Oregon novelist. And like, was he drawing from inspiration from the Oregon hospital, from that mental health clinic in Salem?
I can't tell you. So,
but a nice speculation.
Right. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. So I don't know. I think Salem it's like a mix of things. There was like a lot happening.
Well, being the capital for so long, I mean, it naturally will draw that.
Right.
But so I think Salem is an interesting capital city in contrast to a lot of others in the United States, because so often a capital will also be like the biggest city for some of them, or it'll be like this big kind of important central area. I'm thinking like Austin. Like I think their capital is very impressive and it's kind of central to what I think of like downtown Austin. And I don't really think Salem is like that. I feel like the capital's kind of like in the outskirts just enough. And again, a lot of with Salem is very speculative because again, we haven't spent as much time there as like other places in Oregon, but we have every time we go to Salem, we're like, oh, I forgot about you. There you are, Peter. I think we're always like, no, Salem doesn't sound like a sexy option. Salem's not that far away. And literally every time we have gone to Salem, either by accident or if we have been like, oh, let's have a date, then go to Salem, we have a really good time. And we always have really positive interactions, especially in like the downtown area. But we've also just like stumbled around Salem and just found fun things to do. Like I remember that one time we met up with our friend, I randomly went and got my haircut at like a barbershop, and
Oh, yeah.
the gal who was working like gave me not a great haircut, but not everyone knows how to cut a wavy curl.
Yeah.
And I think it was also like a trendy barbershop. I feel like it was like in a basement somewhere, and I also got like a whiskey drink.
Yeah, I think that like he and I went to like an Irish pub or something while we waited for you.
Well, this is the first I'm hearing about that. You and him.
Me and him.
But also then right after that, like then I think you and I had seen maybe a local high school was having a production of the classic Disney musical, The Newsies. And so I think it was North Salem. Again, all these Salem high schools, there's like West Salem, North Salem. Is there an East Salem, South Salem? I don't know. But we went to this high school and saw like a really good production, especially for like a high school musical. Like it was legit. The sets were really good. The performances, they were all really, really positive. The ensemble was super talented. One of the high school kids, like he was very, very athletic. He didn't really have any speaking parts, but damn, that boy could dance. And damn, that boy could do some backflips.
Yeah, so that was impressive. And I think that, and then we've done that thing where you're walking over the bridge and...
So the bridge that you're talking about is the Peter Courtney Minto Island Bicycle and Pedestrian Bridge that was opened in August 2017. What that does is it connects to Minto Brown Island Park. I might not be pronouncing Minto right. Maybe it's Minto.
Okay.
So
where does it connect?
It connects to the Minto Brown Island Park. And so that's that bridge that you saw that had like kind of the not quite double helix.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like, I think we just stumbled upon that area because that was like a really rundown part of Salem. It's on the riverfront. I think at one point was just blackberry thickets. Like it was just brambles for forever.
Right.
And for Salem and local legislators to like come together and be like, let's like rejuvenate this. Like, let's take pride in our parks. I saw something on the Oregonian/OregonLife.com that they called Salem the garden capital of Oregon. And I want to get to that in a second. But this like island park, so apparently this bridge is like the last link that connects like 1,200 acres of parks and like more than 20 miles of like off-street trails. And so it creates acreage larger than New York City's Central Park.
Wow.
In terms of like just the size of these parks in Salem.
Wow.
And so this bridge, I remember, again, we weren't looking for it. We just stumbled upon it because there's this big, beautiful bridge that goes over. Is it the Willamette? Is it a stream? Again, I don't know. Like we go to Salem, we're like,
whatever.
Where are we? What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
So we went over, and I kind of think you, me, and Dakota, like we looked down, and maybe there's like a pumpkin floating down there. I was like, there's some things happening. But right before you get onto that bridge going towards like the Minto Island part, which we just crossed the bridge and then turned around. Like we didn't bother walking along those trails, which I feel like obviously next time we go to Salem, we need to do that.
I think there's a lot of stuff that we could do. Also, was it Dakota? I have a memory of also doing this with Dave and Sarah.
Because we did.
My God, so many people on that bridge.
We take everybody to Salem. That should be our new thing. We used to take everyone to Astoria. We're like, scratch that.
No, it's all about Salem now.
Yeah, I got that Oregon pride. So right before that, there is this like large globe. Which, do you remember this globe?
Vaguely.
Okay, it was huge, and every person we've taken, every time we've seen it, I think we're always really moved by it. It's a giant globe that is covered in a mosaic that looks like the earth. And so there's tiles. And I read on like the Statesman Journal or something, which is the premier newspaper publication for Salem in the surrounding area.
Totally.
So they said there's like over 86,000 tiles or something on there and like pieces of art. And so again, it's the entire globe and like every continent, every country, I think they try to like have a little bit of art to go along with the tiles. But the initial build of that went between 1999 and 2003. And so it's been there that whole time, even before that bridge was there, before all those trails were connected.
Wow.
And so it goes back decades at this point. But before that, it was the acid ball, is what I saw it. And maybe it was like something for a mill, and it was filled with like chemicals that were supposed to like break down like wood chips or cook them or something.
Wow.
And then eventually it was like decommissioned and put there, or maybe it was there. And then the city was like, well, like we could do something with
We
this.
should cover it up.
And so apparently it was just this huge eyesore forever. And then they finally like got some artists to work on it clearly over the course of years. And then that initial build with the mosaic, I think it was starting to like chip away, like it wasn't holding up. And so then some more artists came out and they like checked it out again. And I think they redid it for this big grand opening in 2017 with the bridge.
That's nice.
So-
Yeah, and I think that's just representative. I don't know, nighttime podcast.
Nighttime podcast.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So it's called the Eco Earth sculpture. Representative of what? The thing, the
Just-
good, the
just
positive.
Salem. I don't know.
It's like something that we see as really grungy and beat up with a lot of potential.
I think that Salem is like the underdog, but every time, I mean, even way before we were together, I stopped at downtown Salem one time, just real quick, and I had like the best wax. I had the best wax of my life. I don't know, and I could never find her again. She had like a little
it's Salem.
right. She had some.
It
Yeah,
vanishes.
yeah. I can't.
It's always shifting. It's moving. It's alive.
There was like a little sandwich board. I was like, oh, wax, whatever.
You followed a sandwich board
Yes,
for waxing?
yes. And I remember I like went up like some steep stairs all the way to the top. Some gal like greeted me.
Penthouse suite waxing.
She was quick, thorough. It was great.
Where is she now?
I know, 10 out of 10.
Dang.
You know, I just think there's been so many experiences like that in Salem. When I was working for Rick and Denise, and like we would be coming back, cruising through. Well, okay, so I was doing I was like an assistant to a veterinarian, and so we would come back, drive through Salem, but we would stop and eat like at a Mexican restaurant like every time.
Same one? Was it Taco Bell?
It was not.
Do you consider Taco Bell to be a restaurant or a Mexican
No,
restaurant?
neither. So there's that. Oh, do you remember when we saw that nutria, that huge
Oh
nutria
my
in
God!
like Salem?
And at first I was like, ooh, beaver. We're in the beaver state.
Mhm.
Wrong rodent.
No, it was a big rat.
Okay, would you like to describe what a nutria is for our non-Oregon listeners or our non-rodent loving listeners?
I don't know that I could describe it. I remember because I grew up on
Compare it to a capybara.
I grew up on a farm, and I just remember like my parents would be like, "Oh my God, what's that in the field?" And I remember like just hearing my parents or somebody talk about like, "Oh, it's like probably a nutria," or like need to like get the nutria, and I'm like, I don't know what a nutria is. And so I had never seen a nutria until that moment, like up close about what we were talking about.
That was a fully domesticated nutria.
It was, to me, in my memory, it's like a supersized, jacked up like hamster with a tail. Like it was massive, and it was wet looking and like kind of longer.
It's like a beaver.
gray.
It's a beaver rat.
Right. Okay, you describe what a nutria is.
It's a small capybara.
Okay.
Which is-
Great.
yeah, and we were in a Riverside Park in Salem.
I think that was one of the first times we hung out in Salem.
Yeah,
We got out,
It was a
went
cool
for
park.
a walk. Yeah, we're having a great time, and so was the nutria.
it was like sunning itself.
Right.
What a beautiful animal.
Maybe eating the grass?
Can we domesticate a nutria? Would
Do
you like to
anything-
have...
We could do anything we want.
People can have pot-bellied pigs. I can have a nutria.
Right.
Man,
Okay, let's move on.
God, the nutria. Also, like, if we're just talking about like downtown Salem, I mean, we don't do free pub for interstate places, but like, there's this couple that we met, and they're trying to like rejuvenate. It's very like Schitt's Creek. Like, they're trying to rejuvenate this like little town, and they have, I think they're up to like three small businesses.
I think 3 businesses now.
One was like a florist that you and I stumbled upon, and it was
and
like
we've
this,
gotten. I've gotten. I
so
think
many good waxes from
I,
them.
I think we've gotten some of the most beautiful bouquets, and I just feel You know, it just feels good. I don't know. I really feel the love when we go in there. It's called, well, are we doing it?
You're doing free pub?
Okay, fine. It's
Flowers
like,
in
okay.
the Alley.
Oh my gosh.
Not to be confused with that creepy book, Flowers in the Attic, which I think is But yeah, I mean, it's that idea.
I'm happy to do free pub for Flowers in the Alley.
Like, you're going in, and it's like that idea of supporting a small business, and you actually get to see literally the person that you are directly benefiting. Like, this is this person, like, one of their dreams, and you are helping, like, keep it alive. And, like, he was making candles and doing bouquets, and yeah, just like a really inspired itty-bitty shop, but like a lot of love coming out of it.
It's very cute. It's very, you know what else I like about Salem?
What do you like?
Is the parking. Downtown, there's like a ton of parking, and it's like the pull-in, like angled parking. Something I've always appreciated about that.
You like angled parking even when you gotta pull out?
I think how it is, because it's not like a super narrow situation, you know, there's like multiple lanes.
Yeah.
So I think that it works because they're one-way streets.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 3 or 4 lanes. Maybe there's 3 lanes.
I think when I saw it, I was like really freaked out, and I was like, I don't know, how am I ever gonna get out of here?
Yeah, I don't know. In my mind, it's amazing.
I just think there's a lot about downtown Salem that we haven't experienced. Like, we've never gone to like their big, like the Elsinore Theater. Never gone there. Like, that's a big, beautiful thing. There's just so much about Salem we have not done. And I was
untapped.
Right. And I feel like that was something like I thought about, like, after we promised to do this episode. I was like, oh, should we go to Salem and do a little bit more exploring there? Like, should I go to the Capitol? Finally.
Yeah, we can do it after this episode.
Do like a we went there, like a part 2.
No, we can just do it and just go and don't tell.
Ooh.
Unless the people demand it.
Are you talking about? Are you wanting to do a secret Salem? Kind of like Secret Santa?
Yeah, Secret Salem.
I read on the travelsalem.com, they're doing like Santa crawl. I think like that idea, like you dress up as Santa and like
good.
hang around. And I do think there are like a lot of events and activities. One that we went to, and I don't know if it's still around, but we went to Cherry Fest.
Oh my god.
Do you know why it's called Cherry Fest?
Because they grow cherries?
Do they?
I don't know.
I've never seen a cherry in Salem.
Okay, but the like people that we knew in Independence.
Oh, okay. Your sister, non-sister.
Correct.
Very.
I feel like they had fruit trees in their backyard, but I don't know. They had a cherry tree.
Is that something weird? Like when you're on the coast in Oregon, you're not
And
like
peaches.
The peaches come from a can
They were put there by a man
in a factory
downtown. Okay, what?
So I think when like I was always very surprised when I saw like just a domesticated fruit tree like in the yard of someone's place, because being on the coast, like that's not something that's super common.
Right, no one's growing fruit. Like, this isn't real.
Hey, my aunt and uncle have like their plum tree, which goes bonkers sometimes. There's also like rogue apple trees. We can go scrumping sometime.
Is that always how it's been? Because in my mind, the year that we got together, and by the year, maybe we'd been together a couple years, when we went up there and got some plums.
Who knows?
In my mind, that was the first time that it ever happened.
Ever?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And they were like, hey, we have so many. We need you to like, but yeah, we never got that offer again. We've never been up there again.
They were scared of the plums.
And also, what's crazy about up there?
Up there.
It's
not in Salem. It's in Tillamook.
It's, well, kind of. But yeah, there's like bears in their yard. And you're like, oh.
Yep. Well, I mean, there was allegedly like a cougar we had a bobcat around here.
Okay, it's not that crazy. All right. Forget
Wild
it. You know what? It's
life.
nighttime pod, and this is where I'm at.
We're taking to the midnight hour. So Cherry Fest. So do you know what Salem's nickname is? Or one of, I don't know if they have multiple.
Poppin Cherries.
I don't know if we should say Poppin Cherries.
I don't know.
Does that make me think of like the Cherry Poppin' Daddies?
Sorry, I was trying to say that.
How good was that wax?
So good. All right.
So Salem has been known.
Tell me the facts.
Poppin' Cherries.
Tell me the facts.
So Salem has been known as Cherry City since 1947.
Really?
Yeah. Again, I've never seen a cherry tree. I've never seen cherries. I would love.
But that doesn't mean they're not there just because you haven't seen them. Or are they like the cherry trees with the blossoms?
Cherry blossoms. So we went to Cherry Fest, which I think was a rebrand from another festival that Salem was doing, but they were inspired, of all things, by South by Southwest, the iconic Austin Festival.
Okay.
For like arts, culture, music, everything. And Salem was like, yeah, we can do that.
Hey, you know what? They have big dreams, and I appreciate that.
Hashtag untapped.
Yeah.
So we stumbled upon Cherry Fest. No idea about it. Us and our couple best friends.
Sarah and I got matching sweatshirts.
Which were like heather pink.
Yeah, and there was a little cherry.
It was the logo of Cherry Fest, which was, it looked kind of like a little person, like a little cartoon person.
But I was wearing it, and then their kids were like, why do you have my mom's sweatshirt on? I was like, this is my own, but thank you.
They're the sassiest children. And then sometimes they say they love us, like we hear they love us from their parents. We're like, what? So you and Sarah were cherry girls, and then you would frequently wear that. Where'd that sweatshirt go?
It's around.
Cool. I've never worn it. I wish I had gotten one. But yeah, so Cherry Fest, I don't know what it was about. I think maybe things were going on that night. But I remember you, me, and them, like we went to like a photo booth. There wasn't like a cherry eating contest or a cherry popping contest for that matter.
I don't know that we hit it right. I feel like it was maybe the end of the festival. Like I think that we had missed the main events is what I recall.
I feel like we were there in like the afternoon.
I'm standing by it.
So I think we got bored of Cherry Fest. I think we
definitely left.
I think we had some cider, maybe.
Maybe.
I feel like we had a drink, and then we started walking around, ambling about downtown Salem, stumbled upon a comedy show.
Oh, yeah.
And so we went to friggin' stand-up comedy in downtown Salem. Again, I don't know where we went. We weren't that intoxicated.
How we went.
I don't think we were intoxicated at all. Stumbled upon some stand-up. Saw several comics. Some were better than others, but one was this hilarious guy. And he had some joke about how your taste buds change every 7 years. And so he was like going on about all the things that maybe he's going to like love now, or you had to be there.
Wow.
But see, that was like another thing. Like I feel like Salem was almost like New York City in terms of like, it felt always alive. There was always something to do. I've never felt that energy from Portland ever.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it's just like what we do in Portland versus what we do in Salem. I don't know, man.
Are we moving to Salem?
Are we in Salem right now?
I don't know. I'm getting like really positive Salem vibes right now. It's like we're there.
So I have another fun Salem memory for you. It was, I think, fall. We were doing our side hustle at the time of juvenile transports for the county, for the juvenile department of Tillamook County.
So fun.
We had recently helped acquire a new vehicle for the juvenile department because the old one was like this old, like, I don't know, 2002 Ford Taurus that was like retrofitted with like a cage in the back that didn't quite fit. There was always kind of something molding on the ground.
Yeah. There was a lot going on there.
Anyway, the story that we could tell could be reserved for a like a Lincoln City type episode because
I think that's for the best.
Because that's where it went off. So anyway, we helped them get a new vehicle. We had the new vehicle. One of our maiden voyages was to take some kid to the prison in Salem, where he was going to be in like the juvenile side for a bit and then move over to the adult side. Anyway, nice kid.
This is like a downer. Okay.
Not a downer, but we stopped on the way to Salem because he, quote unquote, needed to go to the bathroom. And so there was a porta potty on the side of the highway by the river. And so we took him out.
This is not in Salem.
No, but it was on the way to Salem. So he went to the porta potty. He did his business. I did not go in with him. He still had handcuffs and shackles on, so who knows. But when he came out, he hiked his leg and farted on me. And then got back into the van. And then I felt much better about taking him to Salem to prison.
Wow. All right. Well.
And if he's listening now,
you know who you are.
You know who you are.
Wow.
So, Cherry Fest.
What a sidebar.
What a sidebar.
Okay. I am disturbed.
Okay, well, how about I bring you out of that disturbing moment? And I want to also talk about something that was disturbing to your grandfather about a president that he hated.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about the validity of this, but it was on like a fun facts about Salem page.
Okay.
Apparently, for 3 years, the 31st president of the United States, Herbert Hoover, resided in Salem.
Wow.
I just know that he was the president right before FDR, and I think a lot of like the greatest generation people kind of blame Hoover for a lot of problems that were going on at the time. He was a Republican, but I know that like Herbert Hoover was like responsible for like a lot of severe poverty in the Great Depression. I think that really had a lasting impact on your grandfather.
Who grew up pretty impoverished, and that's about it.
Yeah, so yeah, Herbert Hoover. Yeah.
There we go. Well,
Screw that guy.
yeah.
So
these
those are my
like-
downers.
These are not great facts.
I would like to pivot to an upper. So how about we talk about how Salem is allegedly the garden capital of Oregon. Okay, the way we're making it sound like, Salem sounds like a huge metropolis. I feel like Salem's not that big.
No, it's like little big city.
But I feel like you and I were driving around and like
I feel like it's just like really big town.
yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
What?
So I feel like we were just putzing around. Not really. I think we might have been doing stuff for like the McMiniman's passport, like trying to go to the Salem locations. And I just remember we like stopped and there was just all these roses everywhere. And we got out and like had like a photo shoot with these like this huge like rose garden that you could just kind of walk through.
Oh, right.
And so I don't know where we were at. There
or
was
what we right. Okay.
I don't know where in Salem we were. No idea. It was
See, this is the magic of Salem.
you just don't know where
Anything can happen anywhere.
be anything, do anything. So it could have been the Salem Gardens. It also could have been Bush's like pasture park, which if it's Bush's pasture park, I think they do have roses, and it also encompasses it's a 90.5 acre city park.
Okay.
I don't know, all the parks in Salem would make Leslie Knope blush, is all I'm saying. Is like they were, from what I remember, like they were well manicured, they're well taken care of. There was a nice variety. There might have been cherry trees. I'm not quite sure,
Wow.
but it was beautiful.
Okay. What about
What about
the state park?
I
And
thought
by
you
the
said, what about the state animal? It's a
No.
nutria.
hold on.
What about the
That's-
state park?
oh
State
my
fair?
gosh. What about the state fair?
What about the state fair? I've been once.
What do you remember about it?
I remember there was like the people mover thing, the like Ferris wheel. It's not a Ferris wheel.
No, it's like a ski lift that goes over the fair.
the carnival or the whole fair.
The whole fair.
And is there only one drop off and pick off point? Pick up drop off point?
No, I think that there is one like you could get dropped off in the carnival.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I would be far more interested to hear about your relationship with the Oregon State Fair.
I've gone many times, and I used to volunteer at the Dairy Women's booth. It's called the Red Barn
Why did you volunteer at the Dairy Women's booth?
because I think I got a free ticket
To the fair?
To the fair. I think when I was younger, it was like something fun to do.
How
you
young?
know-
What's the youngest they would accept as a volunteer?
I don't know.
5?
Probably 7. I don't know. You know, obviously, I was doing it with like my mom, who was very involved with the Dairy Women at the time. And so, yeah, there was like little jobs, like you could work the cash register. You're like making milkshakes. I feel like making milkshakes was my early duties, where you're like, here, you're filling it up with ice cream, and they want an Oreo milkshake.
You've
and then you
literally
gotta-
never made me a milkshake, and we've been together almost 10 years.
I think that I have proposed it several times, and I just think that you didn't believe in my skill.
So, what kind of machine would you have? Like one of the classic, like mixer shaker
Maybe.
milkshakers?
Oh,
So-
and then I got to eventually graduate to the like swirl cone, which was like, ooh, it's like lopsided, and people are like, I don't care. You know, you're at the fair, you
Because
just
you're
feel
a cute
good.
young thing. You're like, here.
Oh my gosh, or like, I don't know, where I'm making the cones like massive. They're probably twice the size of what they're supposed to be. But it was really fun. And one time I was working the register because later when I was Dairy Princess, I went and did like a shift or a few shifts there.
Did you have to like have a sash or a dress and a crown on?
Yes.
Wow.
And somebody came up and they asked for buttermilk to drink. A cold glass of buttermilk. And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of like, what's buttermilk, right? Like
As the Dairy Princess.
I think I didn't believe it was what it was. I was like, we must have a different type of buttermilk, or like maybe he knew something I didn't know.
No, I think he just knew what he knew.
But right, I think it is a thing with like he was an older gentleman, and I think there's like a story of like, oh, it just reminds me of like growing up on the farm and like, oh, I don't know, there was something about the acidity, the tanginess of the buttermilk that
Wow.
some people are into.
Did you try it? Like, you have one, I'll have one.
I didn't. I had to move on to the next customer.
So, like, how long were these, like, shifts were you doing this for?
Oh, probably a couple hours.
That's fun.
I don't think it was like an 8-hour shift or anything.
Did you get all the dairy products you could eat on your shift?
No, I think you got, well, so the best was on milkshake duty because you got to be in all, you got to indulge in all the mess ups.
Oh.
Oh, because that was a thing. Like someone's calling back, like, oh, a mint, whatever. Or
You
it's
said,
like,
oh, chocolate peanut butter? Did you say chocolate peanut butter? Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I would do that at Main Street Pizza sometimes. I would be like, oh, oops, someone called in for my favorite pizza. They're not coming. It's mine.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Pizza and milkshakes. Wow.
So what else would you do at the fair?
I
The state fair.
Well, I would go and visit the Tillamook cheese booth. That was
They had a Tillamook cheese booth?
no
every year?
It was like, I think there was a part in the state fair, if I'm remembering correctly, that there was like every county would have a little booth.
I mean, this sounds familiar to me. I remember walking around being like, Umatilla County.
Yeah, and so then I think that they kind of make something that represents their area, and then different people volunteer there. And so I think they would have some samples of Tillamook cheese and, hit that up a little bit.
Cheese and some sashimi.
And then I did 4-H, and so if I had entered something, like I did fashion review at State Fair.
Oh, wow.
So that was so cool. It was kind of intense. I think I only did it once or twice.
What would you do?
Model what I've sewed.
Oh, so fashion review. Okay, well, I think of like you're like judging, but you're modeling?
Mm-hmm. But right, I mean, 'cause
Wow.
I don't know that any of my stuff that I sewed was ever good enough to make it to the State Fair. Maybe once. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember. I think I did, like maybe some like baked goods made it to the State Fair.
Have you ever gotten a ribbon from the state fair?
Maybe.
What happens when is there a national fair? Shouldn't
need
there
to
be a
ask
national
Jessica.
fair?
Yeah, maybe there is.
And we just don't know because we've never competed at that level before.
Because
And-
maybe I never won anything at the State Fair.
And that's what the World's Fair is.
Oh
Oh,
my
my
God.
God.
And then I liked the carnival, but I didn't enjoy it as much as the local Tillamook carnival.
I do think Tillamook did a good job.
Yeah, I didn't think it was. Oh, and I would love to get henna. The State Fair was when I always got my yearly henna tattoos. Let's see. And I think, they had this like horse thing that was going on, and
Horse thing. What does that mean?
I don't know. They had a pretty fancy looking older barn, and I think there was like different shows that were happening. Like I think that's where I saw these like the massive, what are those called?
Clydesdales?
Yeah.
And they're pulling the Budweiser wagon, right?
I don't know what they were doing. I don't know.
There's you doing a keg stand on the back of it.
They have concerts there that I think I never went to.
They always feel like they get like decent concerts. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
Nelly came this year, and I was like, "Whoa, Nelly!" Or was it Neo? Was it Nelly or Neo?
I don't know.
That's two very different types of artists. I think the Beach Boys come like all the time. I'm always like, "Why are the Beach Boys here again?" This is the beach.
Everyone's fave. Anyway.
Well, the State Fair goes on for like weeks, right? Like 2.5
Yes.
weeks. Is
Yes, I think it's a while.
Yeah, a wild time.
Anyway,
God, Salem.
there's lots going on there. It's a good time. I've done a lot of thrill rides there, like adrenaline things, like the little ball, like you're sitting in like a chair and it just like
Slingshots you up into the sky.
Uh-huh. I kind of feel like I did it with my dad once, and then maybe I made Jessica do it once.
I did Space Mountain once at the State Fair, and then we went and did Splash Mountain
You
after
did
that.
Space Mountain at the State Fair.
It's a joke.
I'm too tired. It's too late for those jokes.
Nighttime pod.
All right, let's move on. So yeah, State Fair is there. I think we talked way too long about the State Fair.
State Fair is there.
is there.
I'm curious. The next time you go to Salem, what's on your agenda? What do you want to do?
I think I'd like to walk across the bridge and explore the parks more.
Are you perhaps talking about the Peter Courtney Minto Island Bicycle and Pedestrian Bridge?
Yes.
And perhaps see the eco-sphere globe.
I think-
Eco-earth sculpture, sorry.
I think that would be really nice.
See that again. Be reminded.
I think, yeah, I just want to keep exploring Salem. And I think there's just a lot to see and a lot to do. And yeah, it feels good every time we go, which is nice.
I think I would be so bold as to say we should try to like find a B&B or something, like scrounge up some cash,
Oh my gosh.
stay in Salem. We could
Wait,
go to like
but you mean like a bed and breakfast,
yeah, man,
not Airbnb.
do not. We talk about them every time. No free pub. We
Okay.
talk. It's like Voldemort.
Edit them.
It's like
Here,
Voldemort.
you
Every
bleep
time
it
we say,
out.
every time we say it, we give them power.
I
So
know.
I would be interested. It'd be fun to stay like a couple days, or
I
maybe like
agree. I agree.
even a day. We can like there's like so many different museums. There's allegedly a bunch of parks. There's a bunch of nutria to go see.
And a Capitol building.
A Capitol building that you and I have apparently never stepped foot in. I don't even know what it looks like. I have been to more state Capitol building. Well, there's only one in a state. Anyway, I've been to like, Austin. We've been inside. Well, I've been to Boise.
I
don't
know. I was
what
like, did
else.
we go inside?
Well, we've seen Salt Lake Cities. We've just seen a bunch of others. Yeah, it's a little embarrassing. Austin's is really nice though.
I know.
It's pretty cool looking.
Hey.
Do they have a gold?
No free pub.
No free pub. It's a government thing. Do they have a gold man who's hollow? A hollow gold man.
Pioneer. Was he a Methodist? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I don't know.
Gold man is a Methodist?
Well, I mean, it would be Jewish if you're talking about Goldman. It's kind
Alright.
of a name.
Okay.
So yeah, I would like to go see more of those types of things. I'd like to go see our friends who you've talked about having me go to, like the man shop that kind of opened up there. Kind of might be go check out some man items that I can wear. That sounds really weird. Men's clothing store.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good. And like there's so many like really good restaurants we've barely like scratched the surface on, I feel. And I just feel like it's a vibe. Salem is a vibe onto itself.
I think there are some quality businesses and quality things happening there. And yeah, that's it.
Is Salem yummy?
Okay.
Okay, maybe.
I think when you
gone a little
say
too
it,
far.
like, I think,
Yeah, okay, I heard it.
no, I didn't
heard
like it at all.
No, yeah,
All
I
right.
know.
Well,
Anyway,
I think last time we were there was like come downstairs and there's like a smash thing.
yeah. Do you think that's still open?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It's like I can appreciate the idea of like breaking a bunch of shit, but I don't know.
Is it just weird, like how things become trendy, and then every big city is like, oh yeah, we also have an escape room.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we're gonna do the Smash thing if we go to Salem again.
No.
But I'm excited to explore it more, and I'm excited to like go into the Capitol building. So
Maybe we could rent a bike.
Ooh.
Bicycle.
We could just take. We got 2 defunct bicycles in the garage.
All right, great.
Everyone's really excited to hear the kinds of transportation we're going to use when we go to Salem.
Okay, well, see you guys there.
Everybody, thank you so much. We'll love to run into you in allegedly the Cherry City at some point. We appreciate you
Buy the
listening
nutria.
to us. Please, if you feel the need, we would appreciate if you subscribe to the podcast, gave it a review. If you want to give it 5 stars, awesome. If you want to get it less than 5 stars, maybe write us first. Our Instagram is
Some
Exploragonians.
constructive criticism.
Yeah, but be more constructive with your criticism. Our
Thanks,
Instagram, if
Brett.
you want to reach out, is I think Jermaine's.
I think Jermaine's.
Come on, and
Oh,
you call yourself a Flight of the Conchords fan.
No, I don't. I'm just.
Our Instagram is exploragonians.podcast. Please, we're going to have some posts on there. Let us know where some of the things were that we might have missed. Did we go to Bush's Pasture Park? Where was the comedy scene? We'd love if some Salemites, I don't know if you'd call yourself Salemites, Salem Knights.
Ooh. Oh, let's find the nutria picture. Or maybe it's a video.
It's something.
I don't know. Maybe we'll post that. Maybe
Hey.
we won't.
Hey, everybody, we're going to show you our nutria
Yeah.
before it was waxed.
Wow. Okay.
So, everybody,
It's time to cut it off.
next week, where are we going?
I think we're going to head up north.
Your eyes went everywhere to see which direction that was going to be.
We've already established it's nighttime pub.
Yeah, nighttime pub.
Oh my god.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
getting worse.
Just so you guys know, we're filming from our nighttime pub.
Okay.
No free pub.
We're going to go to British Columbia.
What part of British Columbia?
We're going to
It's
go to Victoria.
Why are we going to go to Victoria?
Because we love it, number one.
Yeah.
Two, we thought it was a nice way to pay homage
A tribute.
to my grandma, whose birthday is the 29th.
The day this episode launches.
And we have taken a trip.
You have taken 2 trips to Victoria with your grandparents.
So stay tuned for that fun.
It's going to be
Fun,
the
fun.
most wild Canadian ride.
So buckle up.
Buckle up.
Eh?
Buckle up, you moose.
We've never even seen a moose. Well, I have, but you haven't.
That's so embarrassing, out me like that.
Sorry.
So,
Here we go. It's going to be fun.
once again, everybody, thank you so much for listening to Exploragonians, a travel stories podcast.
Yep.
See you in Salem.
See you in Salem.
3, 2, 1.
This is an outtake.
Are we going to do nighttime pod all the time?
Yeah, because I kind of like it when we're both a little belligerent.
Yeah.
Nighttime pub.
We went to a coffee shop earlier, and the guy's like, either you're severely undercaffeinated or severely overcaffeinated. And I was like, babe, this is just neutral.
Nutria.